Well, I'm going to ask the obvious question, Coach, the quarterback situation. How is Emory, and how do you foresee this panning out this week?
Emory's doing good. Emory's doing good. Excited, obviously, for Trenton and able to get opportunity and do some good things when he was in there. Obviously, that's the expectation for anybody that's in a backup situation. Is when you get in there, you're expected to play at that level or that starter level. So excited about what he did. That doesn't surprise me. He's a guy that's engaged, proactive, always showing the initiative to get better. So excited that those results transformed on the field.
And then, Coach, to piggyback off that, I mean, his calmness, his comfort with the offense and your offense, but his calmness, was that, do you feel you might have to maybe settle him down a little bit after that first series, or was he just calm in between series when you were talking to Trenton?
Yeah, I think that's just his personality in general. He's a pretty even-keeled guy, and I think that's why he kind of goes about his business on a day-to-day basis. So that didn't surprise me at all. Even in a couple instances in the game, he could have got riled up or frustrated, but he didn't. He's kind of stayed the course and ended up bouncing back and did some good things.
And obviously we're limited in terms of what we see at practice, right? But we hadn't seen, prior to Sean taking over in 11-on-11, Emory not take the first team reps until the last couple weeks of that first team period. So was that something that you and Sean discussed, that you guys were going to develop the other quarterbacks and or give Emory a little bit lighter workload? And how much value do you think something like that had when it came to the situation of Trenton then being thrust into the game?
Yeah, it was definitely a topic of discussion. It was probably a little bit of both, obviously in the back end of the season, trying to minimize some reps on top of the development piece for the young guys. So I think it was probably a complement of both. Obviously, it paid off in the game because he's gotten accelerated reps the last couple of weeks. So it did pay dividends, and excited that fell into place like it did.
And then Trenton had the injury that was suffered last year that he talked about after the game. That, of course, limited him in the spring, and then he had surgery. And so it seems like his trajectory of improving was quite a bit from the spring until maybe recently. What was that like, sort of working with him and seeing him go through that process?
Yeah, trajectory as far as physically getting better, you mean? Yeah. He that was a situation we talked about in the spring. He finished the spring out, then had the surgery. So, he went above and beyond obviously over the summer to get it healthy, to get it rehabbed. And then, about training camp is when it started feeling healthy from my understanding. So I think he's 100% ready to go, and the timing worked out well after spring to being ready for spring camp or summer camp.
So when you evaluated him, like let's say in the beginning of August to in recent weeks, did you see a progression that may have been partly due to him just feeling more comfortable running and moving and throwing and all that?
No, I think he was probably pretty healthy. I don't know, I couldn't speak to the injury or medical piece, but I think he was pretty healthy going into camp from my understanding. So I think it's just a matter of getting more reps, getting more comfortable within the offense, creating more confidence, and that showed, when he got his opportunity, obviously Saturday.
So I guess the obvious question, is there a quarterback battle, or is it a situation where if Emory's healthy, he'll be the guy because he's been the first-team guy?
Yeah, I think that it's a great situation that you create that competition at every position. It worked out great that it's the bye week. We can obviously get guys healthy and reevaluate next week. So those decisions haven't been made, but we're excited that that has created a competition, that created that expectation of whoever is in there does need to play at a high standard.
I guess maybe the natural follow-on to that would be, like from an evaluation standpoint, kind of what do you hope to be able to do over the next week and a half, and how much of that will ultimately determine kind of the quarterback situation moving forward?
Yeah, the big thing is to get healthy. Obviously the bye for us worked out perfect, kind of being in the middle of the season, having our last little push of games. So that's the utmost goal here the next couple of days. Then there's a self-scout evaluation piece. What have we done? What are our tendencies? What are we good at? Reevaluate what our personnel is. What are we better at, we feel like, from a personnel standpoint. So I think that's kind of where our focus has been the last couple of days. and then, obviously trying to get ahead a little bit for next week's game as well. So I think there's a lot of stuff on our and then the recruiting piece, right? So there's a lot of layers we're trying to get done here in the next couple of days.
Right. When Trenton goes into the game, does that change what your approach to play calling or whatnot, given, I don't know, what you perceive to be any similarities or differences between the two quarterbacks?
No, I don't think so. We kind of had a plan going into it. We anticipated what we were going to see. So I think we had a plan of attack, and we tried to kind of hold true to that. And Trenton did a good job of executing it, when given the opportunity. So I don't think it changed too much. Maybe evolved a little bit in the game as they adjusted schematically, but not necessarily based on our personnel.
And Coach, obviously, X and Daniel been running the ball well, but Daniel's obviously spark in the return game. I mean, I know you come out first, whatever series might be scripted, but him kind of switching that field position, how much does that change how you might call the first few plays with the success he's had in the return game?
I don't know if it necessarily changes the play itself, but it definitely creates more of a confidence of where you're starting, right? You even go back to, like, historically, the percentage of scoring on the -15 versus the -40, right? I mean, it's significantly different. So that in itself, I think, is super valuable. And he's done a fantastic job with it. It creates some momentum and some excitement after that happens when we're running onto the field. So excited for that to happen, and hopefully that continues.
I wanted to ask about the offensive line, obviously without Des Holmes and then Ladarius going down late in that game, yet you allowed no sacks. So it seemed like that unit made a monumental step forward from the previous week.
Yeah, I was super proud of those guys. And, as we mentioned last week, that doesn't necessarily just the offensive line. They're obviously huge credit to those guys, but I think, all parties are involved, whether it be tight ends, backs in protection, receivers getting open, quarterbacks getting the ball out when needed. So that has been a point of emphasis like we've talked about for the last couple of weeks. So excited that those guys were able to get that done, particularly with the evolved rotation of who was in there. So Emmett did a great job coming in at right tackle, and then Bray came in and, spelled LD. So, obviously they set that standard, so that's what we need to get done moving forward.